Fandom Spotlight has assembled. That's right. We're back again to talk about Hawkeye. This time it's episode 3, Echoes. I'm joined by some of my favorite Avengers, my team, my squad. With me as always, we got the Sorcerer Supreme, Joseph. Hey. Joseph, say what's up.
What is up, my friends?
It could be a number of things depending on where you are.
Probably my blood pressure at this point. I'm pushing 40, man. That's a concern for everyone in my age group.
Also joining me today is our own widow herself, the Rose City widow, Jaz. Jaz, say hello to the people.
Hello.
And also, last but not least, don't forget, king by another name is Matty Ice. What's up, Matt?
Yep. What's up, guys? So excited.
Oh my god, this is an episode. This is an episode. Just to let you guys know, we will be dropping spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, why are you here?
Yeah, get out right now.
Oh,
get out.
Go. You can watch this after the live. Go watch the episode. So this week we're talking about episode 3. It's weird that we're kind of like already halfway through the show. Like it's
right.
Is it only 6 episodes?
I think it's 6 or 7. Like it's not a lot. So we're already like at the halfway point, which is insane. This week was a lot happened. We got our origin story of Miss Echo herself, Miss Maya. And before we start, I'm gonna say something that's gonna shock the masses. I have nothing negative to say this time. I don't have negative things to say. Your resident hater is not here to hate.
Aw, snap.
Spread love. I'm gonna say something even crazier. This episode is like tied with Winter Soldier for me as one of the best things Marvel has ever done.
Ooh, that's a big deal right there.
I cried so much.
I will agree that like it is really tight. Like
it
really
is,
well paced, and
oh my god,
absolutely.
Just boom, boom, boom.
This was a level, and I kept telling myself like, "Yo, this is Hawkeye we talking about." Like it kept bothering me how much I liked it. Yep. I wanted to hate this so much, and it did not happen. So okay, so this episode we start off where we left off, which is, Clint was trying to do the thing, negotiate. Kate didn't listen like most 9-year-olds do. They don't listen.
He's like, she's 9.
And that's how she was acting. Them captured. Yeah. Oh my gosh. She just doesn't listen. But yeah, so it starts off with them being captured, and then Echo comes out. But before that, we also have that whole intro origin story of Echo. And before I ask you guys what you guys thought about it, I just want to say I love when we can get someone's origin story and we don't need a 2-hour movie dedicated to it. Like you can absolutely get to know a character, have like a full arc, and like the 5 to 6 minutes they did it with just her. But it was
don't be hating on Cap Steve Rogers here. I'm just saying.
No. That's different.
Look, Yali said Tom Holland in the situation. Skip the origin. Just plop him in here.
But everybody loves that little Spider Menace because it can work. There's a lot of characters people really do enjoy who didn't get a whole movie by themselves to explain who they are. So I really loved her story. I cried the entire part, which was, as a parent, I think, especially her father not being able to afford deaf school and all the decisions she's made. As a parent myself, like I know how hard it is. So sometimes you have to make a decision that's not the one you want to make, or you do something for your child to them doesn't feel like the right thing, but you just know in the end it's going to be better for them. That whole beginning was just like I was in full-blooded tears. I was just like a hot mess. Mom's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm watching Hawkeye." She was like, "What?" I said, "I know." I know it's confusing right now, but trust me. So let's start off with Jaz. What did you think of the origin story of Echo?
I mean, okay, so the origin story of Echo, I guess we're going to have to go first. All right, so I'll put the notes away. I mean, I loved it. I completely agree with you. I really love the fact that we got this whole origin story of this character that at least you and I really felt for. And I do agree that I think even though it's not the most ideal situation, that she was probably better and stronger for it, regardless of not being able to go to the deaf school, unfortunately. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. I mean, woman is a badass, and I'm here for it. Let's go.
That's absolute. Joseph,
Big
what did you
facts.
think about meeting Echo and her origin story?
So I really dug the origin story. Again, yes, how short and tight it was, but you got everything you needed from it, except two things. There were two things, and these are actually my two issues, and they're not really issues. I was happy that I think it's Zahn McClarnon who plays her father. That he's in it. I love him, and like because he was in Westworld.
I loved him in Westworld.
He never misses. He never misses.
Never misses.
Was it Reservation Dogs? He was awesome in that. He was amazing in that, actually.
I liked that show. That show got a lot of shit, but I liked that show.
It was really good. But he's good in this too. There's a lot of people talking about like the dragons thing that he mentions. If I had to say my problem with it is there's not enough, and now we're probably just not going to get more of him, and that makes me sad. And then also, like, why tease this with her uncle? Like, why? Why do that?
we know who it is.
We all know.
But why?
We all know. Before we say who that uncle is, Matt, what did you think of the origin?
I did love it as well. Like Joseph, I do have a couple gripes. Just going back to our last episode, I do feel like it was a major missed opportunity in not having her be like liberated from the red room, like teasing her in the actual red room when they introduced her. And I think Joe had mentioned it. Something that I really liked was I think the Track Suit Mafia in the comics wears green, and having them wear red in the show to like symbolize, a Russian gang that like is devoted to Yelena's dad would have been like a really cool tie-in. I remember Joe had said that, oh yeah, like they're like devoted to the Red Guardian. I thought that would have been like a super dope tie-in. But for what we got, I did love it. And that little girl was like the cutest little girl ever.
Oh my God.
Like she was like super, super duper awesome. But yeah, the Uncle Tease. I was like, I'm here for all of this.
If you guys watch the episode again, you know that her uncle was the one who picked her up and took her home after her match. It was very obvious Vincent D'Onofrio's laugh that they took from Daredevil.
Facts.
Because it wasn't Vincent D'Onofrio, but it was his voice. So I'm like, oh, so Vincent wasn't there for the shoot.
And if it wasn't, they deliberately chose someone that sounded like him.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
What a casting call.
He does a pretty good Red
Skull. It probably was him for all we know, because he's just like locked in the back whenever they need a voice. And
when they need a voice, like, yo.
Can
you do Kingpin? He's like, I can now.
So yeah, they hinted that the uncle was her uncle is Kingpin, which is comic book accurate. Her uncle is comic book accurate because the tracksuit gang, and she also worked for Wilson Fisk. Wilson Fisk is Kingpin. A lot of people saying that Vincent D'Onofrio couldn't do it because he was in No Way Home. He's filming No Way Home at the same time this is being filmed. And I'm like, it was all in New York. He could have just walked across the street and did his part and walked back where he was.
It's still Marvel. Come on, you guys.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have just... They got technology. You know what I'm saying? They got it. If they can age Robert
filmed
Downey,
up in Canada, so
it is. Yeah, I think it's filmed in Canada or Georgia. It's Canada or Georgia.
Just depends on how much rural or urban they need.
Exactly. But so that was our introduction. It was again very, really good. Did anyone else have at that moment was like, man, fuck Hawkeye for killing her pops? Because I was definitely there with the like, what he do? Like,
I have a theory.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
You have to start drinking every time Matt has a theory.
That's the new one.
Go ahead, Matt.
So my theory is, again, I say all the time, Marvel purposely sets pizzas next to each other that only can equal one thing. And I'm like, why do y'all do this to us if y'all not just going to give it to us? Mm-hmm. So what if Clint inherited the Ronin mantle from Jack Duquesne? And that's why he was so pressed to get that sword back at the auction, because we know in the comics Jack Duquesne is the swordsman who's Clint's mentor. So like, what if during the blip Jack was the original Ronin and somehow passed it down? They don't necessarily have to be friends, but like pass that title down, because I don't want to bury the lead for the end of the episode, but they have like an interaction with this when he holds like the sword to his neck and then it like cuts off before they acknowledge each other. So like, what if like the tie into the comic of Jack Duquesne, the swordsman, being Clint's mentor, he got that title from him and it was Jack Ronin that actually killed Echo's dad.
I don't think necessarily that's the direction they're going. That would be awesome. Do not get me wrong. I would love that because that would create this whole like tension scene coming up
Right.
of like
Exactly.
Absolutely.
who's gonna say the thing first.
Right? Which one of y'all?
But I kind of feel like with them really just kind of showing that he did the thing in Endgame and that, you know, Ronan was in New York for a while. I think it was just that like maybe the Track Suit Mafia was like one of the early ones that he took on because, you know,
reasons.
Why not?
We don't know what the writer room be thinking over there.
They'll take the idea of like that's what we planned all along anyway.
So there I was definitely like, because again, even in those 6 minutes, like so attached to her father, so attached. So like when he died,
I love him now.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, when he died, I was like, yo, fuck Hawkeye, fuck everybody involved. He gotta die. Like if she go kill him, I'm not gonna be mad. You know what I mean? Like that's how I felt because I was so attached to him. So that was our start, and then we go back to them being in this like old Chuck E. Cheese sort of place, and that
KB Toys.
Yeah, oh my god!
Don't mistake KB Toys for Chuck E. Cheese.
It
was just weird to see one. It was just weird to see one that wasn't in a mall.
They're both dead.
Yeah, so. I've never seen a KB Toys like a la carte.
Exactly,
that was really weird.
I absolutely love the Track Suit Mafia. Again, it's also becoming like the breakout star of the show. It's like every time you think like this is a Hawkeye show, the Track Suit Mafia does some shit. And you're like, yo, these dudes need their own show.
This is the Rogers the Musical. Just don't joke yourself. You know, that's what it's
all. Just give us what you want. Just give us what we want.
I really enjoy like the dude's like he got Imagine Dragon tickets, but it was really for him, but it wasn't really like that's
convoluted mess.
He said, "Yo, I love Imagine Dragon."
Like out of all of the groups, it was Imagine Dragon
because she was a dragon, and they connected it together. Look at it,
exactly.
It's all connected.
There, I also wanted to ask you guys. This episode also had like a lot of symmetry between Clint himself and Echo herself. You know, the hearing thing and how they were raised and both kind of like losing their family.
Her too.
Yeah.
Same with her and Echo and Kate. Like,
you know, all of them losing their families once they become like, you know, they embrace their mantles, you know, but they're losing their families in different ways. So again, I kind of want to ask you guys, like, not just overall how you like the episode, but do you think that the symmetry is on purpose? Or is the writer's room hoping we think that they did it on purpose? And
it was intentional.
Yeah, that was us. What did you? Okay, Matt. What did you think overall about the episode? And what do you think about the parallels between all the major players of the episode?
Yeah, I think specifically for me, Echo and Kate's childhood do mirror each other, but they're also like opposite ends of the spectrum. Like super blessed child, a broke child, lost a parent, was like conditioned to be like this child warrior and this, that, and the third. If you notice in the karate scene, there is like other Track Suit Mafia guys who are like leaving the dojo, and then Wilson Fisk comes in. I'm like, oh, that seemed weird that a mafia could just freely walk in and out of this dojo. Like, what if they're training kids like at an early age, like to like run the organization, and that's like part of their front and anything. And aside, did y'all notice that the name of that auto body shop was called Fat Man Auto Body? I'm like, come on with the Kingpin. Just
exactly,
give it to us.
Like,
did you also see that the moving truck was Trust a Bro?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I wanted to hire Trust a Bro immediately, and I'm not moving. Like,
what the tagline say?
But the arrows were Pym arrows. If you
noticed. Yeah.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
I got so excited. I was like, oh, Vic said something about this.
Oh, sorry, that was an Ant-Man thing. My bad.
Oh, but
where's my water? I lost it. I'll find it.
He'll drink later.
But I think that was totally intentional, like to show like that parallel, setting up, whether she like joins up with the Young Avengers because that's what they're heading to, even though it's never been announced, like creating that like dynamic between her and Kate. It's definitely like that's the payoff to something.
All right, Joseph, what do you think of the episode, and what do you think about the parallels between all the major characters?
So I think right now the biggest parallel I noticed fairly early on was that you have these two female characters that are our primary protagonists and probably arguably our primary antagonists. But yeah, not only do they come from locations of relative privilege, because yes, obviously Echo did not have the kind of privilege as Kate did, but she had arguably the kind of protection that Kate didn't have with the Track Suit Mafia and such. But I think the biggest parallel I noticed fairly early on was like both of them had massive traumatic life-changing events that Clint is the center of.
Oh yeah, shit, that's a good point.
Because Clint's the one that basically saved her in that quick moment that she was almost killed by a Chitauri, and then Clint's the one, assuming it is Clint, of course, Clint's the one that killed her entire family. Yeah. So
like all of them. Every family member.
Daz, what do you think of the episode?
Well,
How
I
you feel?
Joseph took my point there about having Clint save one and basically destroy the other's family. But I'll just say that I really love how the Marvel is like giving us these deep things. Like with WandaVision, we had like the grief stuff. And with this one, we're like getting all the details of like what it's like to be deaf and not being able to hear. And maybe they'll make ASL cool, and I hope so, because I think we could use some of that.
Yeah, I definitely felt like this. They're definitely doing a lot of, I don't want to use the word topical because it's not really, it makes it seem like it's not important. But, like I feel like this one is about the choices we make when we face adversity, because Kate and Echo could have easily been each other if they made different decisions. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely.
Those are the Batman Joker paradigm.
Yes, absolutely. So, it's all about what you do with your situation. And so, it could have easily been Kate who was the villain and Echo who was our hero. It doesn't. So I really appreciate that. And I also feel like a lot of people were feeling like the diversity that Marvel was doing was for the sake of saying we're diverse. But this felt like the most authentic thing that they've done, because like it just felt really connected, even if we've never personally experienced it. So I really enjoyed like, the ASL thing, and like Clint's son doing it in the very first episode really showed like this was going to be it.
Was it between freaking Eternals and this? ASL is having its golden day of popularity.
Well, I mean, even over there in Walking Dead land too. I mean, you got
Sarah John says that in the Jack's superpowers are being French, which is a superpower, I believe.
It tracks.
What? Okay.
And also he says in the comics, your passport. Yep. In the comics, Jack is a thief and he doesn't hurt people. Hawkeye is very important to the Avengers because he's an ex-con, so the Avengers have a point to prove with Hawkeye and the team. But there's a lot of ex-cons. Everyone in the Avengers, let's be honest, is a criminal. They all killed somebody.
I was about to say,
can
we point out that they've all committed mass homicides? Kate now has a body count.
Exactly. Everyone is a murderer. But they're murderers for good. And then Murder Falker says, I'm so happy they didn't tie it in to Black Widow.
Give it time. I'm still waiting for that.
It's on the way.
It's on the agenda.
So
give Yelena some time.
I'm not 100% sure because IMDb is about as reliable as like Wikipedia. It's a good resource, but don't put too much stock in it. But Absolutely. Like Florence Pugh is on the credits for the show on IMDb. That's the only place I've seen her mentioned being in the show.
It could easily be like she's the end credit scene of the last episode and she still gets credit. So
very true.
So Kate and Clint have this very funny like get out of the KB toy scene and have this amazing chase scene. Again, one of the best chase scenes in the Marvel cinematic. I mean, up there. Like this shit was
he's not gonna smash the charger.
I know, and then it got messed up anyway. And I was just like, damn the charger. But again, like Jaz mentioned, the arrow, there's a scene with the Kate using all the different arrows and Clint can't hear what she's saying and she's just testing them out. And it was incredibly fun. And I really enjoy this show's version of fun. And then the big spoiler is his arrows are Pym arrows and he makes a giant arrow. And it was...
At least one of them is a Pym arrow that we know.
One of them is a Pym arrow. But when she was like, this is a regular arrow. He's like, just shoot it up. I'm like, okay, what's going down? And then when it became giant, I was just like, holy shit, like this is so cool.
When he raised that Pym arrow, it was just like,
And I
Yeah.
know I was like, Joseph is losing his shit somewhere, and
It's so great. It's so great.
he's,
did.
he's freaking out. So what do you guys think about that chase scene? Again, Marvel has a lot of them. Where does this one rank for you guys as far as chase scene? And we're gonna start off with you, Joseph, this time.
I don't know where to rank it, but I will say the music was on point. Like
Yes.
this whole episode, the music has been on point, and it's been nothing but Christmas music, but it was perfect. And it was they chose like for everyone with I don't even remember the names for all these, but they're all from the Nutcracker, I think.
Yeah.
The dance to the sugar plum fairies, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, there was it was
straight to the other one, which sounds like a sneaky song that they have for the next scene or one of the later scenes. But yeah, it was awesome. The 180-degree turn, Clint driving backwards the whole time or half the time, and all that other jazz. It was such a great chase scene.
Jazz, what do you think of this chase scene as far as Marvel chase scenes go?
I mean, again, I was gonna comment on the music. Like,
Oh, y'all was sharing notes.
Well, Jazz with her notes like this. Alrighty.
I said, we're just,
Scratch that one up.
within, But yeah, on that, I really loved how haunting it sounded as opposed to what we're used to on that. And yeah, I mean, the chase scene was freaking badass. It took me right back to Winter Soldier times, and
Yep.
Even though Clint's sitting there yelling at her like, "Get in the driver's seat, drive," and she's like, "No, I'm gonna be the one playing with the arrows here. What do they do? Tell me what they do." And she was just over there throwing them, having a ball, just figuring out what they do. Finally, we figured out what the plunger one does. Thank God.
It plunges.
It
Who
plunges.
knew?
Matt, what do you think about the chase scene and all the arrows and all?
So Jazz took one of my notes.
Oh my God.
Like like as soon as I watched it, the Winter Soldier highway scene, like that first interaction between Steve and Bucky. Yeah, definitely. I loved it.
Bucky, Matt.
You're right. My bad. But so I loved it though. Like every second of it, like mad Home Alone vibes. Like when she did the arrow with the wires and it like brought all the trees and the putty arrow and stuff like that. I love the part how like her and Clint were thinking the same thing, but because he couldn't hear her, like she was like, "Oh, I should do this," and then he's like, "Yo, you should probably do."
They're a phrase apart, and that was the next scene is even better with that.
With them on the train. And
on the train.
Like, oh my God, I was cracking. He was like, we should probably like walk the dog. He's been like locked up all day. He's like, we should probably walk the dog. He's been I'm like, oh my God. Like I think Haley's laughing. That was her general laugh. Like I don't think for the acting. And like she was just like for real laughing. And then after that, we have like this really, again, another really emotional scene of, Clint is injured and he cannot hear anything. He gets a phone call. He thinks it's his wife, and then Kate has to tell him it's his son, and she's kind of like in a way translating or saying like this is what's going on so he can communicate with him. Again, I was in full blown tears as a mom.
Yeah, that was such a good scene.
Oh my God. To think like, again, Hawkeye is doing a lot of emotional work that a lot of other superheroes in their own thing really haven't done. So it feels kind of like, I don't know if they're trying to do it to like make it for the fact like, yeah, Hawkeye is cool, or it's just generally like this is just
forget about Jeremy Renner's past.
Like, you know what I mean?
I have to say, I might not be a big Jeremy Renner fan here, but I do love the fact that Hawkeye is getting his time to shine in the MCU.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of heavy acting, and again, for a show that's only about like 43 minutes or so, he is just like
and like 6 episodes.
And 6 episodes, he's doing a lot.
I mean, he's not having to share the screen with literally the rest of the Avengers. So.
That's probably in the contract. He's like, if I do this, no one else can be in here.
And I'm not saying that as like a knock on them or a knock on him, but like when you have all these other heavy hitters that have their own movies and things like that, like when he's only in the movies that the rest of them are in, like people are like, okay, Hawkeye's fine, but like, let's go see what Cap's doing.
Mm-hmm. I still need to know what happened in Budapest though. I still need to know.
We
got like a half answer and what
half is
we know as much as they're gonna tell us.
Yeah,
I know.
After that lawsuit, we might never see it because she's too expensive.
Do you want to?
No.
The way they tell us.
You know how I felt about that movie.
I know.
You saw the press release. We look forward to working with Scarlett in the future. You
No,
saw
you
it.
don't. All right. So yeah, it was again a very emotional scene, and I also loved the text. She was like, "I'm glad you're a Hawkeye and not Hawk ear." That was
He was like blocked.
blocked delete. Which makes me want to talk about like their relationship as far as like mentor and mentee. Our only other like real example of that is Iron Man and Spider-Man. Comparing these two, who do you feel like has the better relationship, or like what's the one you're favoring? Because it's like Kate is not necessarily the mentee he wasn't trying to take on a mentee, but their relationship feels more real than Iron Man and Spider-Man, who kind of like wanted to, it got a little too familiar for me. But so I really enjoy it. It also kind of reminded me of it like in the comics the way Wolverine and Jubilee are a little bit like that, kind of just like,
yep,
they'll give each other shit, but they still
Wolverine
love
and like half of the X-Men for being honest.
Right.
Shadowcat, Rogue, any armor, any girl, just any young
Iceman. Or Iceman. Bobby got some mentor love. Bobby got a little bit of mentor love.
Got, like,
he froze that beer for him in X2. They had a moment in the kitchen.
That was nice. So what do you guys think about the way their partnership is being portrayed on the episode? And we'll start off with Matt. How are you feeling about Kate and Clint?
Yeah, you kind of said my answer without saying my answer. I've always felt like the Tony Peter relationship was like forced, because I feel like a lot of it happens off screen and we're just supposed to like fill in the blank of, oh, they're like father and son. It's like, right, not really. Like, in movie time, y'all haven't spent that much time together. So I guess we're supposed to assume that they spend a lot of time together. But the Clint and Kate ones, like I do like how they like kind of were forced to like be with each other, and it seems like, he is taking on the teacher role, where Tony's just kind of like throwing money at Pete, like, hey, new suit, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, another new suit, bro.
You like these glasses? They're yours.
Right. You're in my will now, bro.
Yeah, he just keeps giving them clothes.
For those suits, like everything that happened to Tony, he made a suit for Peter, so that would save him though.
See, that's good, like quiet development, but like
true,
still.
very true.
It doesn't, what about you, Jaz? How do you feel about the two relationships?
I mean, I love it. I mean, so thinking of Kate and Peter, almost said Tony. They're both kind of like forcing these grown-ups to put up with them, though. Honestly. But I mean, I love it. I love that dynamic that they have. And when Nathaniel called Clint to see if he's coming home for Christmas, and if it's movie nights going on and whatnot, she saw that he was having a hard time, so she just went right over there and wrote notes. I can't wait to see where this goes. I think it's going to be amazing in its own way.
Yeah, I had it pointed out to me by one of my friends who was watching it too, that each episode is a missed thing that his kid asked him to be there for. If you remember from the first episode, like
because episode 2 was Gingerbread Night.
Yep. Yeah. And then this one was the movie marathon, and then the next one's probably gonna be the ugly sweater party. So it's like, each episode,
absolutely.
My heart hurts.
It's a missed thing.
Joseph,
I was like,
there's a lot of points they hit on, and I think I have a really solid answer for why, like how like it was brought up that like Peter and Kate are both kind of forcing this menteeship. The real difference is Clint's a dad. He's like actually a dad. So he knows how to deal with kids, and he knows how.
But he doesn't have daughters.
He does.
He does.
He doesn't have the one.
Oh, that's right, Layla.
Lila.
You killed her. She blipped her again.
Brain fart. Okay. I don't deserve to be here. See ya.
She's like, nah, Layla.
But like that. But that's also the thing. Like he knows what kids are like. Even if his kids are very different than hers, he's still than she is. He still knows what they're like, and there's like some of that translates. And I think with Tony, like we're supposed to assume they're really close. I never got that they were. I got that Peter wanted them to be really close, and Tony was as close as he could be for Tony, if that makes sense.
It makes all the sense.
No, it does.
Which is why he did care. Like he cared in his own way. He cared enough to risk time travel crap to say, because Peter, that picture of Peter was the triggering event for that.
Yes,
situation.
absolutely.
So and the suits with all the safety measures and all that crap. So but the difference is Clint knows what kids actually need to grow and be better, and that's just to kind of be there and help them, even if you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And I did like how she kind of jumped up and saw exactly how he needed help. And like, it's this idea that these death-defying situations that they're going through together are actually helping them grow and become closer and crap. And the scene with them on the train is proof of that as well. They're thinking the exact same thing, just a beat apart.
It's beautiful how quickly they've gotten close to each other. Yep. And Peter had all that time, apparently. Even the kid from Iron Man 3, like, we were supposed to assume like they were buddies this whole time. Like, bro, no. Like,
I think it's just more the idea that like, Tony never forgot him and still took care of him. Like,
the rest
even
of
if
us
he's
not.
but Tony, that's the whole point of Iron Man 3 is Tony wears the suit, and the suit keeps him from other people. So he can grow, and that's still going to be a defining character flaw of his. He keeps people at arm's length because he was hurt too much as a person growing up in junk.
Look at the MCU trying to be deep and shit.
Growth. oh, Disney.
They're like, you see that, DC?
Right, you see what we doing? Development. You see that?
That's why you do it over like 10 movies and not like one movie. I will say, I meant to say it, and I completely forgot. I got sidetracked with other stuff. I will say whatever crap you want about Age of Ultron and what
I love Age of
Ultron.
I do too.
And what Joss, well, I do too, but a lot of people don't, and I love Age of Ultron. But in what Joss Whedon did and has said, and how terrible of a person he is, that change to Clint's background is probably one of the best changes in the MCU.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it works, and we probably wouldn't have this series with the same level of heart if that change wasn't made.
Absolutely, it for it to be a surprise is like, you know, it also is a reminder that like superheroes are still people too. Like they're supposed to have a life outside of saving your ass because you know you're in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
Well, and what kind of superhero is Clint anyway? I mean, he's just
and he says that
been trained.
He's never seen himself.
And he says it in the episode. He says, "I'm no one's role model," which again is such a powerful thing to say because he seems like he's the only one besides Natasha, even though you know she's gone.
They should have used that line in episode 2. When
absolutely.
The LARP.
So, I'm
just saying.
Yeah, you know, it's like one of the few. I guess it's kind of what they were trying to do with Civil War. It just didn't work. Like he takes accountability for the fact of everything that he has done. Like, yes, I've saved people, but I still don't feel like that's enough to change everything I've done.
I've murdered a lot of people too.
Yeah, killed so many people.
But that's also in the first Avengers movie. That's kind of the big defining point of both him and Natasha is they have a lot of red in their ledger, and they're trying to make right by it. They're just
Budapest.
They're still haunted by all the bad crap they've done in their lives.
Yeah, it's again. I really. Again, I'm shocked because as a hater in general, I could not hate this episode. I was just like, damn, they just keep doing it. Like he gonna keep.
It was tight,
and it was
no time
clean.
wasted.
It was clean. Also, again, especially about the comedy. I love that Kate is exactly what she's supposed to be at her age, but she's like, what up with the hot guy who was like signing for like everything about her feels right. And there's sometimes with Peter, I feel like he's playing too young for where he should be.
He's supposed to be in high school, like
he's supposed to graduate, you know, like
finally.
And also and like we all know he's banging Zendaya, so like let's be real, like you're not that young, sir. Like
them Disney contracts.
Yeah, Disney contract says we're not, but
you're 17 till you're 30.
Exactly. But I just feel like Kate feels like a 22-year-old. Like I remember being 22, which was not that long ago, but like she feels like a 22-year-old. And again, she's like, oh,
isn't Haley Steinfeld like 23, 24? So she's
young.
Like
yeah, she's young.
She's like a little older than that, but she's still in her 20s.
Yeah. So I really enjoy that. Also, I think if I had to like pick a thing, there's not enough pizza. Lucky the Pizza Dog in these seasons.
What is it with streaming shows and not having enough of the dog?
Why not? Cowboy Bebop did the same thing. Like, where's Ein? Like, does anyone see Ein?
he got kicked off the ship. Yo,
Don't
when they
do
kicked
that.
him off the total aside, when they kicked him off the ship, I was like, they're gonna come back. They didn't.
They did not come back from Ein.
They did not come back for him at all.
Oh my god. So the
And can figure a
episode,
ship out.
yeah,
The flying
bad
cat's up.
Bebop. Yeah. So they decide that they have like a meeting of the minds. So look, we're in this together, whether we want to be or not. They decide to go break into Kate's mom's apartment because she has a security company. We're gonna look up everybody in the Track Suit Mafia, like, because that's just a normal thing kids can do at their mom's house. And I just love, like, Clint had the same reaction we did to like the house. He's like, "This is our house."
Right.
What is this?
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this penthouse? Because
Can we please?
her mom was so gung ho to sell that house. Like,
Exactly.
we
Like,
gotta
what
se-
is wrong with the
we gotta
penthouse?
sell the penthouse. And I was like, you not only didn't sell it, you remodeled it, you stayed there.
You know why? You know why they didn't sell it?
Why didn't they sell it? Tell the people.
Because the life insurance policy on her husband.
Sweet. Was sweet. It
Look,
was a sweet one. And
You
they
don't
had,
think people with that level of money have a life insurance policy
Oh
on
my
them
God.
since they're like
and I'm
3?
pretty sure there was like insurance from the city from all the damage and shit that transpired like during that attack on York.
There's
so-
probably Stark money that rebuilt that townhouse.
absolutely.
Oh,
Probably.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
we didn't talk about this for the first episode, but it's just like, is her mom the luckiest murderer ever, or like she kind of knew something? She was just like, oh, what's a solution just gonna fall from the sky? And then literally a solution fell
Just fell
from
from the sky.
Well, I mean,
It's like,
was it
Like,
Bishop?
what did you know, girl?
Bishop
Right?
was a security company, and Selvig had
She
to get
saw
into
them
Stark Tower
coming.
somehow.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh yeah. So they go to they break in, as she says, and she's looking up the people in the Track Suit Mafia. Clint hears a noise. And then, like Matt said, he's trying to figure out what the noise, and there's his old sword to his throat, and then it cuts the more Christmas music. We all pretty much, well, it's safe to assume that it's the swordsman, but for all we know, it could not be. Maybe, I don't know.
No, it was
Yeah, it was him.
No,
Yeah,
but
we don't know
like,
we don't know if he's the swordsman.
yeah,
but we know who it is.
Yeah, the
'cause it was
writer's room
Ricky
will
Jack.
tell you it's
But that's why we talking about Marvel. You give him the same name. He collects swords. Stop putting these things next to each other if
But
you're
he-
not gonna let it be
They're
there.
like, no, it's Mephisto.
Well, I mean, for all we know, they could just be leaning on it like a reference, and that's it.
right.
Yeah, very true.
So
They
like,
do that.
since most of us have like the comic book knowledge that Clint and Jack kind of have like this relationship with each other, what do we think when the 4th episode starts? What do you think their relation, like, what does this interaction look like? Is it gonna be funny and quippy? Is it gonna be real hostile? Is Kate gonna be like, yo, are y'all bromancing right now? Like, how do you see this thing playing out? Jazz, what do you think the next episode is gonna be
Okay,
like?
so I am the one here without the comic book knowledge. So
Oh,
I'm
so we
gonna
spoiled it for
fly
you.
off
I
my feet here.
I also
Oh,
don't have
sorry.
it. I also don't have it for
All
those
good.
two.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, ugh. If it's what is it, Jack? I think there's a good possibility that we might see a bromance going, but if it's not, I think we're gonna I don't know, maybe start off with some dark stuff here and go into the next episode. And I'm just gonna say that Disney Plus did me so wrong on the way that they ended that episode. I was into
Yeah,
it.
I was tight.
Like, no.
I was like, you better not cut off. And then it cut off.
Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
No, that was like that. It's the same vibe, same mentality. But I will say personally, I think it's going to be one of those weird situations where they're going to be quippy and snarky with each other, but there's always that underlying tension of like one of them could leap across this table and kill the other one at a moment's notice. That they're just waiting for the opening. That's it.
And it better be Clint that does that. That's all I gotta say.
Well, Kane's already tried to stab him in the face, so I wouldn't be surprised
Good
if
point.
she.
Good point.
I knew he would parry like a pro.
Right?
What if she was wrong?
Right?
Just
It
stabbed
never
him in the
crossed her
face.
mind. It
Oh, yeah.
never crossed
Just
her mind.
stabbed him in the face.
Her being wildly overconfident is like a regular trait in this episode too. Because when she's like, "I'm always," or when he told her to be careful, and she's like, "I'm born careful," and I'm like, "Does the clock tower think you were born careful?"
And you
Are
fell
you
through a
though? Are
skylight.
you?
Right? She fell through the skyline. Exactly.
She Raphael that John.
Oh,
Don't be talking about Raph now. Come on.
Oh my God, we bringing you everything, Ninja Turtle references and all that shit.
All of them.
And man, what do you think the next episode is going to be like?
Good answer. Good answer.
I think there's
Both
going
in
to
New
be
York.
a lot of talking.
Mhm.
There's a clip in one of the trailers about like Kate's mom being like, "Oh, there's an Avenger in my dining room" or something like that. So I think that's going to be one of the
Oh,
scenes
yeah, I
we get in the
forgot
next
about that.
episode.
We don't have a lot of Vera Farmiga so far.
Yeah.
But then again, we're already halfway through and she's been in like one episode. It feels weird.
I'm unsure. I'm kind of just much like much of this episode. I was just kind of along for the ride.
It was good. It was good. Matt, what do you think the next episode is going to be like?
I'm going with like Ali, you saying, like with the comic book knowledge, stop putting these things next to each other if you're not going to let it be a thing.
Right.
I'm hoping my theory would be right that Jacques was Ronin at one point in time, and there is that type of connection. Even if he wasn't a Ronin, like again, that's Clint's legitimate like mentor in the comics, and now they about to have this interaction.
There's this idea too that like when we saw Ronin in Echo's flashback, we didn't really get a great look at him. It was just a dude in a black suit with a hood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That could have been Jacques. Jacques could have passed the mantle of Ronin down. So I think they know each other, and the fact that of all the sword, because we saw in the first episode, there's swords everywhere. So for him to specifically grab the Ronin sword to threaten Clint with, I was like, oh, it's poetry.
So what if it wasn't like a mantle passing down situation? What if it was kind of a Kate situation? So it's the idea that like Jack probably had some sort of beef with the mafia or with maybe Kingpin, because Kingpin and was like, well, this Ronin guy is causing havoc in the city. I can just kind of do the thing and not get busted and blame it on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe when the whole Ronin stuff was going on, Jack was a Ronin fanboy, much like Kate is a Hawkeye fangirl.
He loves swords. I love swords.
Right? Jazz, I know you. What did you want to add? I see you over there.
I was going to say we were forgetting a very important part of this show.
I think I know what it is.
Kate was drawing the costume.
I was about to bring that up. Absolutely.
Ah, yes.
Oh my God. Can we please I was like, I always wondered what the fuck this was supposed to be. And when she said it was wings, I went, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys saw it on Twitter, but there was a deleted scene from the Larp episode where there was someone in Hawkeye's original costume.
I did see that.
I did not see that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I'll have to go find that.
I have to find that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, but I thought that was like, because it always in all the Marvel like series, they try to find a way to like call back to the original costume, like Luke Cage, like when he broke out of prison. The clothes he found was like the original headband and stuff.
Yeah.
Captain America when he was doing his little, showgirl.
The world tour.
Jessica Jones, when her and Kate were talking, she was like, "You could be Crystal," and she pulled out this like tacky blue thing, and it was just like they always try to like bring up the old costume. So I was wondering where they were gonna do it. And
even X-Men and Sony. When Cyclops was just like, "What would you rather wear? Yellow spandex?"
Yes, I laughed so hard when he said that.
Now I'm gonna take one of Matt's line. I heard a theory that in the first episode, one of the swords is Nightcrawler's swords. And I was like, I didn't go back to check, but there was like, baby, that's like, their way of saying like, we about to give you the X-Men if and the other swords are also popular like swords from the Marvel universe. I'm not a swordsman or a swordsman expert, so I can't tell you legit, but if that theory is true, that's also very cool and like a good nod to
the thing about Nightcrawler's swords is they're just kind of like cutlasses. So
so we got I figured you would know.
They're just some swords.
This is the regular swords.
They're pirate swords, and even if he's got like a fancy sword, it's not like he's ever wielded like Excalibur or anything like that. But they've always just been kind of like sabers or cutlasses, because that's his fighting style. And Jack's a fencer, and Hawkeye's a fencer. So
now look at that. And also, well,
Sword fight.
Peggy had that sword in a What If, so we're just bringing all the swords.
Bring that one up.
We're bringing all
And we had the return of the USB arrow from What If. I was hyped about that.
God.
I was like, it lives.
My wife was even like, why is the USB arrow there? I'm like, you never know when you're gonna have to kill an AI. Come on.
Exactly.
That was like one of his first trick arrows they ever showed us with Hawkeye existing, because that's what he took down, other than the explosive arrows. But like, while those are trick arrows, it's like not really, because that's what he took down the helicarrier with. And when he was being
when he put the virus in there, I remember that. Yeah. I do call bullshit. I don't think that a USB attached to the end of an arrow being fired at lightning speed just gonna bounce off someone's chest. Like that would have hurt.
Oh yeah, that would have hurt bad. But that was like the big guy. She hit the big guy with it. So like, you know.
But it was so funny. The other dude ducked. He was like, "Oh shit," and he was like.
Can we comment though, in the past, like old USB arrow in the first Avengers, that Hawkeye is such a good shot. He can hit the USB accurately the first shot.
No one can do that, bro. My mic didn't work earlier
because I put it on. Man, come on.
That's true. He's not Hawk ear.
It's definitely not Hawk ear.
The comedy of this episode was it really was like a well-balanced episode where it hit all the beats you would want something in the MCU, and it's like, how can they not? I don't know. I don't want to bring up Black Widow again.
I mean, he even did say that Laura would divorce me if he wore that outfit. So there you
go.
And that's another thing too. Like it was brought up multiple times that comparing this to Winter Soldier, and this is actually paced really well, much like Winter Soldier. Because there may be more Marvel movies I enjoy, like Ragnarok and stuff like that, but like Winter Soldier is arguably like the gold standard.
It's number one.
Best MCU movie. Because it does have that perfect blend of like the action, the suspense, the drama, as well as like a lot of humor in there. On Your Left is so iconic.
And even them
they ran that line into the ground.
How long did Anthony Mackie wait? Oh, even Sam say that to Cap though.
He went to Doctor Strange. He said, "Yo, make sure my portal's
on the left."
Or the portal opens. He's like, "All right."
He's trying to left one.
On your left, bro.
What would be really bad is if Cap was like, had the situation where he can never tell his right from his left, and it's like on your left, he looks to his right.
He's like, yeah, the left.
I'm like theater mode, left, okay, right, yeah, whatever.
So
he said, my left in the picture or my actual left? Your actual left.
So I want to ask you guys again. We're halfway through. And we have a lot of things that have been teased. We've got Yelena, we've got Wilson Fisk. There's a lot of other theories out there about who will show up and who won't show up. I want to know where do you see, like, what do you think is true? How do you think this is gonna, the last few episodes go? Will they pop up? Won't they pop up? Are they end credit scene? Or is it just, people trying to drum up hype with a little leak? They like to call it, because I don't believe nothing is leaked. You know what I mean?
Oops.
Oopsie daisy.
Before the MCU expanded the way it did, I would have been like, oh, this is just an Easter egg. This is just to be
right.
But now it's like, okay, is this an Easter egg or is this telling us something's coming? It's hard to say. And even before, like this past week, with the news dropped about the No Way Home, that there's going to be more Spider-Man movies eventually and stuff like that, I would have been
Tom
much
Holland.
more, yes, specifically with Tom Holland.
But they didn't tell Tom Holland, which is the funny part.
They didn't tell Tom Holland.
Guess
of course they didn't tell Tom Holland.
He found out the same time we did. He was like,
yeah, because then the interview would have been ruined. But
it's so funny how before that announcement, how he was saying like, yo, if I'm still playing Spider-Man in like 3 years, I did something wrong. And then he's just like, yeah, if I could play this till 30, that's great. And the switch it is like, oh shit, guess I'm staying.
It's like, Tom, you're not Timothée Chalamet. You're not going to get lumped into these weird artistic projects for no weird reason. Okay.
Yeah, not at all.
Because we all asked for that Wonka prequel. We all did.
We actually like you, Tom Holland. No.
So who wants to share where they feel like this is going, or who's going to show up, who's not going to show up? I know we kind of did that earlier, but we got a little bit more leakage.
I don't really know all the leakages. I'm trying to, kind of keep it,
that's
clean,
this week's
I guess,
moist.
Leakage is this week's moist. You're welcome, Vic.
But I do expect, possibly in the end credits, maybe Yelena will show up there. I don't think she's going to show up in the show. I think that's gone too far for that. And it would be really rushed if they suddenly brought her in for the story. But yeah, sometime down the road, I expect her to show up and something to go on between her and Clint, obviously.
What about you, Matt?
So I'm kind of agreeing with Jaz. Like, I don't necessarily want Yelena to show up in the show because I feel like there's so much going on. They'll like kind of Spider-Man 3 the situation and try to cram too much in it.
Yeah.
But the fact that Val has a picture of Clint unmasked in the Ronin suit when Clint still is like not really admitting that he's Ronin. That should, in theory, play a part in the show because everybody's essentially the show is Who's Ronin. That's essentially what the name of the show should be. Like,
Michelangelo. Sorry, guys.
Right, there you go. Oh, now I'm sad. Now I'm sad. R.I.P. to the boys. Yeah, but definitely. So I don't want her to be in because I feel like it would be too much. But the fact that Val knows that Clint is Ronin and Yelena is on the hunt, it would make sense for that picture, at least that picture, to get into somebody's hands, and they're like, you son of a bitch. But
of Hawkeye, and it's that picture.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But definitely all the Wilson Fisk teases. You gotta give us Kingpin. Could it here another rogue theory? Could Avengers Tower now be Fisk Tower?
Ooh.
Now that we know that he's essentially coming, because I thought it was cool that they had him in like the black suit, because it's like not his traditional white suit, so it could have been like him on the rise. And then when the blip happened, so many people not around, so he's like, oh, now this is my chance to like. So
the black suits kind of his current like contemporary vibe that they've had, because I think in the video game and in
he does have it
in Spider-Verse he's in a black suit.
Yeah, I was about to say into the Spider-Verse he's in a black suit, right?
So on that point though, Matt, when you were talking about like the Stark Tower and who has it now, I kept waiting for it to show up when they're in the penthouse again. I'm like, okay,
she should be facing it, or at least
trying to look out the window.
Where's the Avenger Tower? It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, and we might get that in the next episode because they've only actually been in the penthouse like with Clint there like for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I could see some scene where he looks out, he's like just like, ugh.
Yeah, right.
What if that's gonna be like a special Easter like surprise thing where you get to finally see a symbol that tells us who bought the building? I'm still putting my money on Danny Rand.
They've built it up so much for it not to be something big.
It either has to be like you said, Fisk Tower. It's either
the Baxter Building,
or Rand bought it, or it has to be something.
It has to be.
If it's nothing,
it's
it's Wayne.
It is the Roxxon.
It actually could be Roxxon. The weird thing is all these shows have had some sort of Roxxon thing in it, even though they never mention what Roxxon is. So it could very well be. I think
they did in Iron Man 3.
They did it in Loki had a Roxxon mark.
Well, they talked about Roxxon in Iron Man 3 as well.
They did. There was
Roxxon
a lot of
Oil Corporation.
Yes, WandaVision. I think there was also was it the helicopter or the drone was Roxxon? There was a Roxxon element.
Roxxon's kind of like the Marvel equivalent of like Weyland Yutani, where it's like it's one thing, but it's also a mega corporation, so it's like 30 things. So.
Well, it also could be Wayne Tower because the Eternals had to bring up Batman for no reason whatsoever. Why the fuck not? Let's make it a thing. You know,
if it's Wayne Tower, I'm out.
The multiverse now is
that would be hilarious.
I think it's just like Disney, Marvel's way of fucking with DC. Like you can't mention us, but we can mention you.
That's how Disney announces they bought DC.
Bought DC.
I know, exactly. Love
Guess
it.
what, guys? You wanted
Want
it
two
wrong.
universes? Too bad.
Surprise.
Oh my god, that'd be so. Which Batman do you think Disney buys? The Affleck? They get a new guy.
It's Ben.
They
If
would
it's
go
Ben,
with
it's
new
Ben.
guy.
Ben
Yeah.
would pop up.
Oh my
Please,
god.
God no.
They
don't
want the risk involved with Ben Affleck on their brand.
It's gonna be Jake Gyllenhaal, and we'll finally get
Jensen Ackles.
Remember
Give
what
us
was?
Jensen Ackles.
Oh,
Oh,
word. He's played the
God.
voice enough. Hey, don't make that face. Supernatural's that's the show.
I think that he would make an excellent Red Hood, like he wants to be, and I think
Oh,
we
yeah,
should
no.
just let him
Really
do
good.
it.
He would have been a really good Hawkeye, like he turned down.
I don't
He
want
would
him to
have. I
be-
would have.
I don't want
I
him to
would've
suffer
liked
the
him,
a Batman fate. It's not. He doesn't deserve.
Yeah, he doesn't. I like him like in the animated Batman role, but like him as like the
He
physical
doesn't-
Batman,
he-
I don't see it.
No, like he if. I know we're off topic, but
Yeah.
I love Titans, but the choice of Batman there is just like he
Oh yeah,
tries so
Jorah Mormont from Game of Thrones, like
tries so hard.
with blonde hair. Like,
and
how are
he
you
keeps trying
Bruce
to
Wayne,
hide his
sir?
accent, but the accent keeps popping out every 2 seconds. I'm
certain-
like, just
certain
go with it,
phrases.
dude. Just go with
Yeah.
it.
Speaking of a Game of Thrones reference, the dude that's Echo's boyfriend, the Cassie, I think is his name. I was
Yeah,
like,
Cassie.
oh look, it's great value Jon Snow.
It is. That's 1000%
both of
great
them are hot.
value, Jon
Sure,
Snow.
no,
Kate
that's the
pointed
thing.
it out.
No,
Store
it's
brands,
Dark Adam now.
Star, or was it store
Mhm.
brands aren't bad. It's not like they're
Wish.
terrible.
It's the Wish.
It's the wish
The
version.
wish
absolutely.
See, no,
version.
wish you'll get your crappy like, oh actually it's only like an inch high thing.
Oh,
Oops.
inch high. I see what you did there.
Doo-doo-doots.
Also, before we wrap up, I want to talk about a little bit Echo's relationship with Kazi. He seemed for me, it's like I love that she had to check him because he seemed a little too comfortable, like getting like loud with her, and I'm like, isn't she the boss? Like, who are you know what I mean? Like, she very quickly was like, who runs this?
In the end credits, it actually credits out. It doesn't say who, but it says Little Kazi in one of the end credits. I'm assuming he was one of the kids in the karate.
In the
dojo.
karate thing too. Yeah.
So they probably have been, and he referred to Kingpin, allegedly Kingpin's uncle too. So they probably grew up together. So that's probably why he's like, "Yo, come on, girl."
I mean, it's a mafia situation. They call themselves a Track Suit Mafia, and a lot of times it's a quote unquote family in those kinds of organized crime groups.
If you will.
So I would imagine, yeah, they're all tracksuit mafia kids that were raised in the tracksuit mafia and taught martial arts to fight. Why the rest of them suck, I'll never know.
Exactly. Didn't y'all all take the same class?
Like, you skip some days. Like,
Maybe-
what's going on here?
Maybe she graduated out of the tracksuit and like they're still stuck in it. Like they didn't pass a certain amount of classes, so they did get stuck in the tracksuit.
you gotta promote out of the suit.
Yeah, you gotta get out of it.
But yeah, I did like Kazi as well, because it did seem like he's kind of like, look, you gotta chill for a minute, take a deep breath, and we'll figure this out. And she's like, I'm in charge. He's like, I know you are.
What do you think Kate said that made her want to choke the shit out of her? Because they didn't translate it. There was no sound. So what do you think?
Because she still is so determined that she's Ronin. So her just talking brought back when her father died. She's looking the person she thinks is Ronin in the face, and she's like, nope, I'm done.
But do we really think like she just seems like way too smart to really believe like that child is the person? Like she again,
that's why Clint was like
okay,
she's 9.
So maybe she just doesn't care and she wants somebody to finally pay because she's been
Vengeance doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Now that we have Wayne Tower in the MCU, you know.
Well, that means Vengeance is now the night. So
exactly. You know, it was daytime. That's why, you know.
And the night is Moon Knight. So we're hitting at Moon Knight Batman crossover.
Crossover.
You guys are welcome. Look at Joe's like, no, please don't do that. You know they'll do it.
That's a cowl bummer.
Big time.
I love how we keep bringing the Ninja Turtles into this.
No, they're everywhere.
Sir John says therapist Kate on the case. Jason Johnson like a belt, and then expert in Imagine Dragon spousal disputes. Oh my god, why I get they picked Imagine Dragons because the whole dragon thing, but like, aren't there other dragon groups?
Well, but Imagine Dragons is kind of one of those groups that you either absolutely like, you like them, or you absolutely hate them. They're kind of like the new generation Nickelback, where it's kind of like everyone
No
kind
in
of
between.
Together, come on, man.
I'm just saying.
I like that parallel. I
know
he's right. He's
and
right,
it's not, and it's not that they're actively or egregiously bad. They're just kind of like,
they do so much like philanthropy. It's like, oh, they're great people, but the music be like, oh,
it's basic. Like and I'm not trying to be like critical of the concept of basic, but that's kind of what they are. They're a basic band.
If they don't do a cover of Hero, then what is the point? What is the point of mentioning them?
Such a great song.
I may be criticizing Imagine Dragons,
a great song.
But Radioactive is a jam. I love Radioactive.
Absolutely.
That is also a great song.
So unfortunately we're at the end of the episode, but we will be back Thursday. What a really, really great episode. And also such a major turn from the first 2 episodes, tonal wise. Like it did a lot. So be back again for next time, and then we're gonna have our homies here, say what they do and what they got coming up. Everybody's booked and busy. So Jaz, tell people where they can find you, what you got doing.
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna drop some news that'll probably blow your guys' mind. Fan Expo announced today, New Orleans. Anthony Mackie himself is going to be there for 1 day only.
Woo, get your tickets.
So go check that out. Go to New Orleans Fan Expo. I've got the concert with Vancouver Master Chorale coming up next weekend.
Woo, go Jaz.
All that stuff going on. Yeah. And next Tuesday, even though I won't be in the panel because I have dress rehearsal, check out the Walking Dead mid-season finale, whatever panel thing. Yeah.
They have so many types of finales over there at the Walking Dead.
They do.
Facts.
It's the 3rd Tuesday of the month finale. So you guys know the vibes.
What happens when like 3/4 of your cast is dead? They're all zombies.
It's the leap year finale.
The leap year finale.
2.5 that are still around. So
I meant the Walkers.
The Arbor Day finale.
Because there be trees.
Exactly.
Joseph, can you tell the people where to find you, what you got going on, all that?
Quite a bit going right now. You can find me on Twitter at the Spice Must Joe. You can also find me where I write things occasionally for Fandom Spotlite. I just did a review for Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, as well as a Shin Megami Tensei 5 review a week or so ago. I'm also doing some live Pathfinder 2nd edition plays on the Rollmongers. You can find them on Twitter. They're on Twitch, but I don't remember what their channel is exactly called on Twitch because it's not the Rollmongers Network. But I did 2 shows last night. It was a long period of time, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, that's the bulk of what I'm doing right now.
And LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. There's so much. LinkedIn lost the thing. I'm on LinkedIn where I occasionally post things. Thank you.
The more he does, the more he doesn't care about LinkedIn.
The LinkedIn is just cast to the side.
And Matt, can you tell people where can find you, what you got going on?
Absolutely. So I am Matthew Porter on Facebook _menace2 sobriety. That is the number 2 not spelled out. You can always find me on these amazing Marvel panels with these amazing Marvel people, as well as writing things for Fandom Spotlight. And I'm currently in the midst of trying to sell my soul to get this Fandom Spotlight RDC World collaboration happening. So
I would love
fingers
crossed.
I
love RDC World. They're amazing.
I love Animal House.
So fun aside for Joe. So I covered the panel, and I went to Dallas BBQ for Saturday for dinner, and the table behind me had left, and they had left their camera, and the waiters was just like, "Oh, whose camera is this?" And I was like, "Oh, I saw the people leave. I'll go give it to them." It was RDC World.
Ooh, look at that!
So I was just like, remember me. I'm gonna reach out.
They, as a group, give me hope that people can make it on like social media here in Texas, because it never feels like people down here.
1000%.
Absolutely. And as always, I am your resident lover today.
Doesn't feel right. I don't like it.
It doesn't feel right either.
You have like some self-hate going on for not being a hater.
My makeup could have been better, honestly. If I thought I am Yali Perez. You can find me at Fandom Spotlight here moderating stuff. I think next week I'm gonna pass it over to Joe so I can, take some of the pressure off myself.
So chaos will reign.
Chaos will reign, you guys. You guys love chaos, so we're all
the inmates running the asylum. Yeah.
Yeah, you can also I have also decided, fuck it, I write for Funimation. You can check me out at Funimation, y'all.
Whoa. Bomb drop.
Check me out at Funimation. I write the Mom's Guide to Anime and Dating. And I did recently the 7 reasons why Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen is your new obsession, because he's popping. And I'm also recently joined the Game Herds as one of their brand ambassadors. That's what I got going on. You can find me at Beautifully Nerd over on Twitter. Just don't send me no Richard pictures. I'm tired of getting those. I tell you how many times I gotta block or report somebody.
What if it's just a picture of Richard Iowate?
I'll take it.
This is the picture of Richard.
Like if it's actually a Richard, like like the one from Friends or something, like I'll take that. But like if it's your Richard, no. And as always, again, you come back on Tuesday. We got the Walking Dead panel. Wednesday, the VCR redo crew. We're doing all kinds of crazy fun stuff. And then you got us here on Thursdays. And remember to follow your fandoms. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Finger guns, y'all.
Get them Spider-Man tickets. Get them Spider-Man tickets.
Get them now.
Go on Friday, because I can't get it on Thursday.